Hello, hello, hello. Here we are back again with another stream for Katawa Shoujo. We are 13 episodes. That's or 13 streams. That's kind of crazy, but fun, very fun. Very excited to be. So today's stream is probably going to be one of the shortest Katawa Shoujo streams we've done because I'm not starting a new route in the middle of this stream. I also didn't sleep, so I'm a little bit tired. I've slept for like a total of 50 minutes in the past like almost 2 days. So, but as you can see, we have one scene in Act 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 scenes left to get. Act 4 is 5 scenes for Emmy. If we look at our gallery, we've got can't show that one. Can't show that one. I should probably have 2 or 3. So like these 3, I think, are the last ones that we'll get, and that'll be Emmy's route completely done. So, as is the case for these route finishing streams, we will first be getting the good ending, and then we will go back to. You remember? So this is where we're at right now, a swing and a miss. We will go back to Guess Who's Coming? Oh, never mind. And we will make the decision to get to the bad end. And actually, I think, yeah, so we actually have to do 2 different choices, because one of those routes actually, or one of the decisions in that bad end is unique, as it gets you back onto the good route. It's interesting. So that should be fun to look at. Regardless, I don't think there's any reason to keep wasting time. Let's start Act 4 and see the true romantic ending for Miss Emi Ibarazaki. The sound of my alarm is an unwelcome intrusion on a sleep that's been a battle to obtain. I doubt I've been truly asleep for more than an hour or two. Too much on my mind. Did I make the right choice leaving the house yesterday? Did I manage to get Emmy to realize how unreasonable she's been? Am I ever going to manage to get her to stop being unreasonable? Emmy's mom gave me a new perspective the other day, but I'm still not sure that it's the right perspective. She was hurt when I left yesterday, too. I know that part of any conversation is going to have to include an apology about that. Right thing to do or not, I hurt her. I hurry down to the track, eager to talk to Emmy. I think I know what to say. Apologize for leaving first, and go ahead from there. Unless, of course, Emmy doesn't show up. Which, from the looks of things, seems like it's the case. It's been about 15 minutes since I got here, and there's no sign of her. She's never late, not unless she's sick, which is unlikely. She probably just doesn't want to see me right now. To take my mind off what that implies, I begin my warm-up routine and take off around the track. It clears my mind wonderfully. For the half hour I'm running, I don't think about anything but the run. However, once I'm finished, and Emmy still hasn't shown up, I get a little worried. With any luck, the nurse will know where she is, if nothing else. The nurse will know where she is. If nothing else, I can see what he thinks I should do next. So, last night didn't go too well, I take it? You already know? I have my ways, and it's not if I would miss the distinct absence of your running partner this morning, now would I? No, I suppose not. So, what happened? Don't you know already? Maybe, but I could be bluffing. Perhaps I'd prefer to get your side of the story before I give any advice. I quickly fill the nurse in on the events of last night, and he takes it all in without changing expression once. Nothing about the whole event seems to surprise him, although he does seem surprised when I say that I didn't follow Emmy. Chose to talk to her mom instead, huh? Smart move, though I guess it didn't work out too well for you in the end. Well, I'm not sure. Emmy seemed apologetic when I left. Or, at least she seemed that way until she put up her defenses again. The nurse sighs and spreads his hands in a conciliatory gesture. Frankly, I'm surprised she let them down at all. Emmy's had a lot of practice on that score. You probably won't get anything else out of her. I don't believe you. Is that so? You think she'll tell you the whole tale? I swear I just saw the nurse's eyes glitter a little. His expression is the same, but he leans forward ever so slightly. I think she'll open up if I ask her without being an idiot about it, yeah? The nurse gives his enigmatic smile in response and shrugs widely. I think he's enjoying his role a little too much. That's the real trick, isn't it? Are you sure you know the right way to approach the subject? I guarantee that Emmy's going to try her hardest to pretend last night didn't happen. It will be painfully awkward for the both of you, but it'll also be a lot safer than trying to ask her for the whole story again. It could go worse this time. Are you ready for something like that? It sounds like a challenge, like he doesn't believe me for a minute. Like he doesn't believe for a minute that I'd be so bold. I actually feel a little insulted by his lack of confidence in me. Of course I'm ready for that. I love her. My outburst gets a raised eyebrow in response. Well then. Good luck. Let me know how it all turns out. Although he delivers his parting shot with the same smirk as usual, I actually think that the nurse wants me to succeed. I resist the urge to charge directly to Emmy's room to prove the nurse wrong. I've gone in half-cocked before, and the results were less than stellar. Phrasing, Hiseo. I'm going to do this. I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to say, and how I'm going to say it. Something to think about in class. Sure enough, by the time lunch rolls around, I think I have a good enough idea of what to say. I can do this. The bell rings, and I grab my lunch and dash up the stairs. Eager to be there first. I'll need to ask Rin to leave, and I'll need to... Hi, Hiseo. Sorry I wasn't able to run with you this morning. I overslept. Somehow both Emmy and Rin have managed to get to the roof before me. Oh, that's no problem. Last night was kind of draining, I guess. Emmy's expression doesn't alter in the slightest. Yeah, sorry about that, but I've had such a weird morning since then. Oh, really? Emmy proceeds to make small talk for the rest of the time. I can barely get a word in edgewise, and soon find myself interjecting with a sort of back-and-forth dialogue that seems to have defined our early relationship. I'm not going to get anywhere on this problem during lunch, obviously. I can respect that. Emmy obviously doesn't want to accidentally pull Rin into things, and that's fine. Not that I think Rin would notice, but I can at least respect that sort of rationale. I try a different tactic. Hey, Emmy, what are you up to after class today? I was thinking we'd go somewhere for dinner or something. Emmy looks genuinely remorseful. Sorry, Hiseo. I promised the track captain that I'd stick around after practice and help some of the other kids with their form. It'll have to be some other time. Yeah, sure. I'm honestly not sure what to do now. Maybe diving into things the day after would be a bad idea anyway. She might still be angry about it and it's just not showing, right? Whoa, what the hell happened there? She might still be angry about it and just not showing it. Besides, if she's got track team responsibilities, that's fine, right? I tell myself some variation of this theme the next day, then the next. I wake up, run with Emmy, during which she refuses to talk about anything but the run and what she was doing the night before, and then lunch, where we sit and make small talk until the bell rings. Her new responsibilities effectively keep me from seeing her outside of school. Maybe, just maybe, I'm letting it happen because it's safer this way, just like the nurse said. Except while it may be safer, I'm feeling more and more wretched. Emmy doesn't look good when I see her anymore. Dark circles lurk under her eyes. She seems more and more distracted. I can't bring myself to ask what's wrong, because the timing never seems right. I'm absolutely miserable. Well, we got a little bit of a pickle here, don't we? Another lunch comes. I trudge up the stairs to the rooftop like a condemned man. Rin is up there, but Emmy is not. Immediately I worry that something's happened to her. Maybe the lack of sleep finally caught up to her. Or maybe the lack of sleep finally made her collapse, or something worse. She seemed pretty tired after our morning run. Maybe she fell asleep and didn't even make it to class. Hey, Rin, where's Emmy? In response, I get a rather penetrating look from Rin, and something approaching a frown appears on her face. 1 second, I actually have to... I've been super unhappy with my mic setting so far, but I took my puff filter off. And I think I was just peaking with it off when I was talking. I have the mic closer. It's like right above my keyboard right now. I'm trying to like work with audio levels because like I keep noticing the background music in the game is louder than me and I don't like that. Alright, we read this line. Is that information really important? I think so. She's usually here with you, isn't she? I don't know. I have no way of being sure. I can confirm that she is, in fact, usually here with you when I come up. Well, she isn't now. Does that worry you? Kind of. That seems to end the conversation, and the point becomes moot anyway because Emmy bounds through the door with her usual energy. Hiseo is kind of worried about you, Emmy. I don't think he can decide, or maybe I just don't believe him. But I think I'm going to go somewhere less awkward now. I'm so surprised by Rin's being so suddenly forward about, well, anything at all, that I merely watch her head through the door. Emmy is similarly surprised, and colors slightly crimson as she stares open-mouthed at me. It occurs to me that I should probably say something, if only to break the awkward silence that has suddenly descended. It's because you weren't here yet. I was worried about it. Why? You're usually here, so I was worried that something had happened to you. This isn't the first time I've been late, you know. Did you get worried all the other times, too? Not really. Emmy seems slightly amused by this. I don't know why, but that kind of pisses me off. So why was this time an exception? Maybe it's the light, teasing tone of the question, but something in her response pushes me to be honest, though I can't help snapping at her when I say it. Because you've been worrying me since dinner at your house, that's why. Well, now it's out in the open, and Emmy's eyes are wide. She looks like she wants to bolt, but she doesn't. Ah, still on that, I see. What? You think I'm supposed to just forget about it? You threw me out of your house. We've been going on for almost a week pretending it never happened. I didn't see you bringing it up either, you know. I know, and I'm sorry that was the case. We have to address it, or we'll just keep this up. Or just keep up this whatever it is we've got right now. It's killing me to look at how you look right now. Did you know that? Those circles under your eyes and that distracted look in them. I can't help worrying that I've caused it somehow. You haven't. Trust me. Well, I haven't helped either. I keep pushing you to tell me things you aren't ready to tell me. Maybe I was wrong to try getting your mother to help me out, but I've been so worried about you that I didn't know what else to do. Well, you don't have a right to worry about me anymore, okay? I think it's pretty clear we're not right for each other, so maybe we should just stop. Her face is twisted up as she says this, like she doesn't want to say it, but forces herself to anyway. You don't actually want that, do you? Heck, you can barely bring yourself to say it. Anyway, it won't keep me from worrying about you. I care too much about you to just stop on command. You don't want to tell me what's wrong? That's fine, but I won't stop trying to help you, even if it's just standing by you. Stop saying that. She's shaking now, and as she looks at me, you can see she's afraid and frustrated and a million different things all at once. I shake my head slowly and take a few steps toward her. You know what your mom told me? She told me that you'd never ask for help, because you know that you're strong enough to get through anything on your own. But that's not the full story, is it? Her eyes go wide, and she takes a step back. I keep going, because I think I've finally figured it out. Something tells me I won't get another shot. I've put it off for far too long as it is. There's no harm in having someone help you, unless you're worried about needing help in the first place. You're scared, aren't you? Because of... I trail off, because I don't know for certain what happened to Emmy's father, and I don't want to jump to a conclusion. Well, never mind why, but it's okay to be afraid. You've been running from it, and from me, for so long, even though you knew eventually you have to turn around and face your fear. And I'm going to be there to help you when you do. I won't stop, because I don't think you'd want me to. You can understand that sort of determination, can't you? I can see that I've gotten through to her, but she quickly falls back to anger to try and push me away again. Back on your white charger, Hiseo. Gotta help the poor cripple face her emotional problems. What do you know about me? What I've already had to face? You think 2 months of learning to walk again was fun? But I did it. And after I did that, I had to... For a moment, it seems as if she's going to say something else. But she cuts herself off. And after all that, you don't think you can get past your fear? Emmy, I can't fathom what you've been through. But to come through it and still be the sort of girl that you are, well, makes me think that you have even more strength than you think. So I'm not going to help you because I think you need rescuing. I don't want to be a knight rescuing the damsel in distress. But even knights helped each other out, you know. I want to help you, even though I know you can do it on your own. For a moment, it looks like Emmy's going to break down completely, but she doesn't. Tears run down her face, but she stares at me steadily. Why are you trying so hard to help me? I'd say that it's because I owe you one for helping me out when we first met, but that wouldn't be the truth. The truth is, I just want you to be happy, because I love you. Had I ever said that before? We've been in a relationship, and it's been pretty obvious that I love her. Did I ever actually speak the words? What did you say? I say it again, savoring the feel of being able to say it at all. Being able to say it and mean it. Emmy seems stunned. I said I love you, Emmy. I love you. Just you. And that makes me want to stand by you, no matter what you have to face. I'm wrapped in a fierce hug then, as Emmy begins to sob against my chest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about everything, but I'm so scared, Hiseo. I'm so scared of losing you, and I love you too, but I can't lose you. I'm so sorry. I hold her quietly, shushing her until she settles down. She steps back, a little more composed. Will you come with me tomorrow? Back to my house? There are some things I need to show you, if I'm going to do this. Of course. Maybe this time we can leave together instead of separately. Emmy grins, a sudden flash of brightness that seems more genuine than anything I've seen in the past week. Yeah, maybe. The lunch bell rings, and I curse the universe's poor sense of timing. Are you free tonight? We can talk more then, right? Emmy shakes her head. Sorry, Hiseo, I'm still helping the track team. Plus, I don't think it would be good if we talked over this tonight. I'm going to be too tired to think properly, and I want to be able to tell you everything without screwing it up. You can wait, right? Even now, there's a bit of fear in her voice. I smile and rest a hand on her shoulder. Okay. I'll be waiting. Emmy gives me a quick kiss before she heads for the stairwell. Thanks, Hiseo. See you tomorrow morning. Wouldn't miss it. I head down the stairs with the feel of her lips on mine, suddenly aware of how much I'd missed that sensation. I'll have to remember to thank Rin for getting us to talk to one another. Although it was possible she won't even realize what she's done. Still, if not for her, I doubt I'd ever been able to confront Emmy again. I guess I needed more help than I realized. Tomorrow, however, I'll need to stand alone through whatever Emmy's trying to work herself up to doing. I'll be up to the task, I hope. Alright. A swing and a miss. Alright. The morning sun is bright through my open window. The sound of my alarm quickly has me up and about. I slept surprisingly well last night, secure in the knowledge that at least I've got another chance with Emmy. If I can just keep myself from doing anything stupid, maybe I'll find out what's been eating her recently. I have a few educated guesses, but nothing concrete. And certainly nothing that I'm going to say to her. I'd much prefer to have her tell me herself. Though I can't help remembering the nurse's warning that I might not like what she has to say. Do I really need to know that badly? What if it's something awful that makes me repulsed by her? Can I really say that I'm prepared to handle whatever she has to say, regardless of what it is? Emmy said she wanted to tell me without screwing it up. The hell did she mean by that? What's there to screw up? Suppose there's not much use worrying about it, though. I'll find out today. It occurs to me that I really, really need a run this morning, to clear my head if nothing else. Emmy is waiting for me as promised, looking a little haggard, but otherwise bright and cheerful. Much more so than any previous day this week. Hiseo, you're late. I wave my hand dismissively. Nonsense. You're just early. Emmy grins back, and it feels like we're finally back where we should be with one another. Except now Emmy, not just me, wants to take another step forward, though part of me worries that she'll back out at the last second. Hurry up and stretch, Hiseo. I don't want to miss the bus. The bus? I said I wanted you to come back to my house, remember? And I promised Mom we'd be there in time for lunch, so I wanted to hurry. Early start, huh? It's more for my mom's benefit than anything else. Well, that's okay. I unsuccessfully try to guess what Emmy has planned, shortly before realizing that it doesn't matter that much to me. I quickly go through my warm-up routine while Emmy bounces impatiently from one foot to the other. She really does seem to want to get moving as soon as possible. The run is over so quickly I can barely believe that I haven't fallen over dead. Emmy set a blistering pace and I, in my foolishness, kept up with her. Well, until the last few laps. I had to slow down just in case. But I don't mind, and Emmy's waiting patiently for me as I finish. As patiently as she can wait, anyway. Finished? Good. Come on. Grabbing my arm, she practically rushes me down to the nurse's office. You seem in a hurry, Emmy. Trying to catch the early bus? Yeah, I told Mom I'd be back for lunch. Well, I'll take care of you first, then. But Hiseo's got to come with me, too. The nurse raises a single eyebrow at this statement and peers at the two of us searchingly. Really? Today, huh? Emmy's response is a nod, followed by a surprisingly shy grin. Well then, we'll make this quick. Emmy enters the nurse's office, and I patiently wait outside for her to be finished, wondering just why the nurse seemed to be surprised by Emmy's declaration. I feel like I'm missing out on some joke, or the significance of today, beyond the fact that it is clearly significant in some way, of course. True to his word, the nurse has Emmy out of his office surprisingly quickly, and I take her place after promising to meet up at the front gate. The nurse takes my pulse and listens for a bit. Your heart beats faster than usual. Been pushing yourself again, have you? Well, Emmy seemed in a rush to get through the run, so... I'm not surprised. Today is rather important to her, you know. I suspected that could be the case, but I have no idea why that's the case. She hasn't told you. Interesting. So you're not going to tell me either, then? No, I'm not. I suspect that Emmy has her own plan for explaining today to you, and I don't want to mess with that. You'll find out soon enough, so what's the rush? Now for your heart, I would take it easy the rest of the day. No spontaneous races or anything like that. Got it? Got it. She won't have her running legs on anyway, right? No, but if you think something like that is going to stop her. Good point. I don't think it'll be much of an issue today of all days, but still. If he's trying to reassure me, he's doing a terrible job. I'm quickly becoming more and more worried about what today could be. What today could be for, like suddenly finding out Emmy's in a cult or something. At the same time, if today is such a big deal, and Emmy wants me to be with her for it, maybe she really does want to grow closer to me. Maybe this will be the answer to all the riddles, to the sleepless nights, and the sudden mood swings. Either way, I barely remember to thank the nurse before taking off as quickly as I dare for my room, to get a shower and throw on some decent-looking clothes. If today is important as it seems to be, I should dress appropriately. Emmy, of course, proves me wrong as soon as I reach the front gate, wearing her usual shirt and shorts. So at least I know it's not a terribly formal affair, whatever it is. You're early, Hiseo. Not as early as you. Eager, are we? Emily cheekily pokes out her tongue. The bus stop isn't very crowded at this hour, which seems to please Emmy, and we end up relaxing a little as we wait. We sit in silence for a while, but I can tell that Emmy's trying to work herself up to say something. I don't have anything to say myself, so I sit waiting for her to talk. It doesn't take too long. So, I'm sure you're curious as to why the nurse thought it was so weird for me to bring you along today. I was a bit, yes, but if you're not ready to tell me... Emmy stops my sentence by placing a finger on my lips. Don't tempt me, Hiseo. I want to tell you about this. Or I want to tell you this, but I'm just uncertain as to how to go about it. I don't want to keep delaying or deferring. I just want to be able to say it. So say it. You know that's not going to be easy for me, Hiseo. So treat it like running. Warm up to it with something small and easy, and go from there. But don't do it too fast, okay? I'm a patient man. I can wait for you to get to it. Emmy seems to consider my words, weighing them against what is probably a desire to get it over with. I will admit, as much as I keep telling Emmy to take her time, I wouldn't mind her getting it over with either. But somehow I know that Emmy probably needs more time than the bus ride will provide to get it all out, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe you're right. The bus stop probably isn't the best place for this. But just to make sure that I don't go back on my word, I'll at least say this. She takes a deep breath, lets it out, and after a moment says in a low voice, We're going to see my dad today. The words hang in the air, and I can see that Emmy's afraid that I'll panic and disappear in response, which a part of me almost wants to do. It would be stupid of me to back out or to suddenly abandon the promise I made to be there for Emmy when she needs me. The nurse thought it was so weird of her to bring me along. She doesn't bring anyone along, or at least I'm willing to bet that she hasn't before today. The day seems to take on even greater significance. What has it taken Emmy to even get this far? And why is that the best I can manage as a response? Yeah, I don't know what I should say. Nothing, I think. Just promise that you're going to come with me. Of course. You know I will. Emmy smiles wanly, looking a little relieved. Good. In that case, we'd better get going. The bus pulls up just a little after she finishes her sentence. Vague memories of my first trip out here come to mind as I step off the bus, but unfortunately they're too vague to be of any use. I will be the first to admit that I don't quite recall how to get to Emmy's house, so I let her lead the way. She seems content to walk in silence, and I myself have no idea what I could possibly say, so the two of us arrive at her house, having said nothing since getting off the bus. Emmy's mother opens the door and doesn't seem surprised to see me standing next to her daughter. I expect that Emmy would have phoned ahead to let her mother know of the change in plans. Emmy, Hiseo, you're just in time. Lunch is just about ready. Great. I was afraid we might be running late. As fast as you were going this morning, I doubt there was much of a chance of that. I certainly hope she wasn't too much of a bother, Hiseo. She tends to get a little paranoid about being on time when food's involved. I hadn't noticed. This earns me a swat on the arm from Emmy, who, despite the serious nature of our conversation on the bus, the almost brooding quiet walk, has quickly become cheerful again. Probably to keep her mother worrying about whatever it is Emmy plans to tell me later. Miss Ibarazaki ushers us in, and in short order we are around the table devouring lunch. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until I got here, but for once I seem to be eating almost as much as Emmy. Goodness, it's a good thing I made so much. The two of you are acting like you haven't eaten in days. I skipped breakfast this morning. Me too. Had to catch the bus, I assume. That, and I figured you'd make too much food, so it wouldn't matter if I skipped breakfast. Well, it's good to know that I'm predictable. Emmy nods enthusiastically, and conversation falls off again as we very nearly clear the table of anything edible. It is a testament to the sheer amount of food It is a testament to the sheer amount of food on offer that we don't finish everything. I lean back in my chair with a sigh and thank Miss Ibarazaki for the food. I'm glad you liked it, Hiseo. Now, has Emmy told you where we're going? Yeah, sort of. Is it far from here? Not really, but we'll drive there to save time. It closes kinda early. I nod in assent and stand up, ready to go. Well then, shall we? Miss Ibarazaki nods and leaves the room to grab her keys. Emmy, I notice, has started to fidget nervously. Second thoughts? Emmy smiles tightly at me and shrugs. She's fallen silent again, which probably means that I'm right, and she is starting to regret bringing me along. Not that I blame her. She's done such a good job of shutting me out that I doubt it's easy to suddenly open up. Honestly, I'm worried that she's forcing it. But she said while waiting for the bus that I'm not supposed to give her a chance to back out. Since I promised to go with her anyway, I suppose there's not much of a choice. I can't go back on my promise, and she can't go back on hers. I just hope the both of us are up to it. We're off! Emmy's mother blows through the dining room, collects the two of us, and heads out the door at a brisk pace. Now I know where her daughter gets it from. The car pulls up at the cemetery gates, and I feel Emmy tense up beside me. I reach over and give her hand a comforting squeeze, which causes her to relax a little. Emmy's mother doesn't follow us, explaining that she prefers to visit the grave alone. Emmy steps through the gates and looks back, as if to make sure I'm still there. We step into the cemetery. I don't feel comfortable in cemeteries. Gravestones litter the ground, each one serving as a reminder that someone used to be alive and is no longer. How many died young? How many were as old as I am now? When do I wind up with a marker of my own? How much longer do I have left? The concept of not waking up, not seeing Emmy anymore, is not a happy one. It frightens me, and I very nearly turn around and exit right then and there. I don't want to go among dead people. I don't want to see their stones and think about who they were, or what they could have been if they'd only had more time. Then I look at the girl next to me, and my resolve returns. Emmy's striding purposefully down the path, eyes clear, setting a pace that's nearly a jog. The sooner we get there, I suspect she thinks, the better. We're here. A gravestone, wholly unremarkable in everything except for the name etched upon it. The grass has grown up around the base. Emmy's eyes are riveted to the stone. After a few moments, she turns around, looking surprisingly calm, yet solemn. Pink's not actually my favorite color, you know. What? I'm warming up to it. Ah. People tend to think that pink's my favorite color. I think it's just because I like strawberries, and even though they're red, they just assume that pink's the right color for strawberries. And that it's my favorite color. But it's not. I'm too polite to tell anyone otherwise, of course. It's not the kind of thing worth getting worried about. But I'll bet even you thought pink was my favorite color. Blue. That's my favorite color. My mom and dad are the only two who know that. And now you do, too. Thanks for telling me, I think. You're welcome. There's a pause as she considers what to say next, drawing a quick breath. I can't carry a tune to save my life. I can hum, but actually singing a song is something I've never been able to do. I don't mind, because I'm not a fan of karaoke anyway. Ah, well, that's one potential date idea out the window. People all think that I'm a really popular and friendly person, but I only have a few close friends. Probably because I keep everyone in the dark, but I think it's also because I hate the idea of losing a close friend. There aren't many people worth the risk. I'm terrible at saying goodbye. I sometimes think that I only run because it's what I used to do with my father. You're not my first boyfriend. I dated a guy for a long while during my second year at Yamaku. But in the end we broke up because I didn't want to get closer to him. He couldn't live with that distance between us. Her rate of speaking increases slightly, as if she's rushing towards a finish line. I'm actually 1 year older than you. Everyone thinks I'm younger because I'm short, but I had to skip one school year because of my accident. They initially thought I was paralyzed when they pulled me out of the wreckage. I'd lost my legs already, but they were afraid I wouldn't be able to even use what was left of them. After surgery, it was clear that their initial assessment was mistaken. I couldn't feel my legs because of shock. Short-term paralysis due to the other trauma I'd experienced. My recovery was one of the fastest they'd ever seen, or so they told me. I never found out if they were serious about that or if they told that to all the patients learning to walk again. She pauses, gathering herself for one last effort. 8 years ago today, I lost my legs, and I lost my father as well. He died on the way to the hospital. I didn't even get to go to the gravesite until 2 months later, and couldn't attend his funeral. I'm so sorry. Don't be. That's what everyone always says, that they're sorry. I hate hearing that. Like anyone could have done anything to change what happened. You know what the best piece of advice I got? These things happen. I don't even remember who said it, but I guess they didn't have anything better to say. But it's true, you know. These things happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. They aren't necessarily planned, and they aren't always bad. They aren't always good, but they are. So I made the decision that I would live without worrying about the future. And to be sure I never had to say goodbye again. I decided I wouldn't let people get close to me anymore. After all, they could be taken away at any time. And you know what? She laughs, a little bitterly. Her eyes start to well up with tears, and I step forward to embrace her, but she holds up a hand to stop me. I'm not finished. A deep breath, and she continues. It worked pretty well, until I met you, and saw that you were trying to adjust to stuff here, so I thought I'd help, and then you were so nice, and I couldn't help it. The tears are flowing now, and she accepts the embrace this time. The rest of her sentence is now mumbled into my chest. I tried not to fall for you, but I did. And I tried to keep you at a distance, like with my first boyfriend, but I couldn't. But I've been so scared because I don't want to lose you, and I might anyway. Hey, I'm still around, right? And maybe I won't be forever, but don't you think it'll be fun while it lasts? Neither of us could survive the day. There could be a bus crash or something. Jesus fucking Christ, that's morbid. Hey, Cobalt. But so as long as I know that I've been with you, I don't think it matters. A sudden thought strikes me, and I can't help laughing. My condition had me scared of dying so badly that I immediately seized on the opportunity Emmy presented to improve my odds of living longer. But without Emmy, would there have been any motivation to keep up with my running? It hits me that Emmy is the reason I want to go running every day, so I can spend as much time with her as possible. Emmy looks up at me, confused. We'll just go on living until we stop. And when we stop living, we'll be able to know that at least we've had time together. And I wouldn't have it any other way. 'Cause I love you, Emmy. And right now, that's enough for me. Emmy smiles through her tears and steps back from me. You know, it's funny. Hey, not a problem. Good luck on the start of your fall semester. I've still got, I think, 2 weeks. Yeah, good luck on that, Cobalt. What is? I thought that the best way to live in the moment was to do it alone. But now, I don't think I'd have it any other way. I'm glad I met you, Hiseo. Well, these things happen. Emmy and I stay by the grave for a while, as Emmy pays her respects to her father. When she's ready to go, we exit the graveyard side by side. Alright, let's make our save here. Emmy's mother drives us back to Yamaku. The trip back is very quiet. We wave goodbye as the car drives off, and I glance down at the girl leaning on my arm. How are you feeling? Emmy shrugs noncommittally. I'll be fine. Come on, let's go. We pause outside the girls' dorm, and I turn to face Emmy, ready to say goodbye. Why don't you come up for a while? Okay. The walk to her room is in silence. I'm not sure why I supposed I'd be turned away at the door. I guess I just assumed she'd want to be alone. Her mom, the nurse, hell, everyone who knew the significance today seemed to think it best to leave Emmy alone. But she took me into that graveyard with her. She told me the whole story of what happened on the day she lost her legs. She wanted me around. The significance of this does not escape me. Emmy opens the door and steps into her room, not even bothering to invite me in, holding the door for me expectantly. I step in and the door swings shut behind me. Hey, can I ask you a favor? Sure, I can't guarantee I'll do it, but... Emmy giggles and pulls me into a kiss that starts out soft but deepens into something almost desperate. Stay with me? Please? Her voice has dropped to a whisper. The question is barely audible over the sound of my own breathing. There's something about the way that she asked the question, the hesitancy in it, the quiet voice, that makes me think she doesn't mean tonight. No, she means exactly what she said. Stay with me. Not tonight, or forever, because both of us know there's no such thing as forever. There's no time limit to a request. There's just the request. The favor. Can I do that? Can I stay with her? Of course. We embrace again, Emmy guiding me towards her bed, stepping backwards with care, till she sits down on the edge. It's another rodent. Shit. Just to make sure. I collapse next to Emmy, who almost immediately curls against me, smiling. Mentally, I feel grateful that Emmy keeps her nails short, otherwise I think she might have drawn blood. I sit up briefly to dispose of the now used condom and lay back down next to Emmy, who's in turn taking care of cleaning herself off. For a while, we lay in silence, savoring the feeling of being next to one another. Emmy is the first to speak. That's why I keep the filter on. I'm so glad I'm smart. Hey, Hiseo? Thanks for coming with me today. I smile and plant a kiss on her head. Of course, my pleasure. Emmy snuggles closer, and I can feel her breathing begin to slacken as she begins to drift off to sleep. Just as she's about to fall asleep, she wakes up enough to mutter a single sentence. I love you, Hiseo. Then she's out like a light, leaving me feeling like I'm on top of the world. I draw the slumbering Emmy as close as possible, pull the covers over us to keep the chill off, and fall asleep as happy as I've ever been. There we go. I'm so glad I'm smart. The rolling light seems to reach further into Emmy's room than it does into mine. This results in my waking up earlier than I would have if I'd gone back to my room last night, as had previously been our routine. I did not realize it until this morning, but this is the first time we've actually spent the night together. Small movement from my partner's still slumbering form causes me to look to the side. Hair splayed across her face, Emily continues to sleep peacefully, curled up next to me. Slightly weird to see her without her trademark twin tails, but it's also a look I could get used to. The small size of the beds here necessitates her curling up, but I'm pretty sure she would have done so anyway. The covers are nearly over her head, and I smile as the errant strand of hair causes her nose to twitch slightly. Unable to help myself, I draw her a little closer, a move which she seems to think is a good idea. Her steady breath raises a trail of goosebumps on my chest, but I don't mind. I am no longer tired, but I do not feel a need to move from my current position. Emmy's warm body in repose against mine is far too comfortable to move. I gaze up at the ceiling, consider how it is we got to this point. We've been close for a while, but not this close. It seems like only yesterday she ran into me in the hallway, and after apologizing, decided to take an interest in my well-being. But that grew into something else, which I at least was not expecting. One thing is for certain, having found Emmy, I will try as hard as I can not to lose her. My morning musing is interrupted by further movement from Emmy. Her eyes flutter open, and she seems briefly confused by my presence in her bed, as well as her current state of dress, which is non-existent. Okay, that's a CGI. Hanako's was close. This is a CGI cannot show. Night, Cobalt. Thanks for stopping by. Then she smiles happily and sits up, her face looking down at me. Good morning, Hiseo. Hi. Sleep well? Yeah, I did. Exhausting day yesterday, you know? I think back over yesterday's trip to the graveyard. Yeah. Glad to hear you slept well. How'd you sleep? Well, enough. Well enough, although you kept hogging the covers. This earns me a shove and a stuck-out tongue. I chuckle, and Emmy giggles a little, and we fall quiet for a while. I soak up the feeling of how right it all seems. Waking up with Emmy by me, crammed into a bed made for one person. Something I could get used to. Hey, Hiseo? Thanks for sticking around. No problem. Saved me the walk back anyway, right? This draws another giggle, but then Emmy's expression turns serious again. No, really. I kept trying to push you away because I thought that was the right thing to do, and you stuck around through it all. I haven't made any of this easy for you, but you stuck it out anyway. So really, I mean it. Thank you. She punctuates this by giving me a kiss, pulling back and looking at me with an expression of affection. I reach up and ruffle her hair, smiling all the while. I'm stupidly lucky, I think. To have come through everything after my heart attack and to somehow have found this girl is nothing short of a miracle. You're very welcome, Emmy. I couldn't bear the thought of giving you up. I'll even continue to stick around if you want. I'd like that. That settles it then. I don't know how long my heart will keep working. I don't even know what I'll do after this year is over, apart from going to university. As long as Emmy's around, I think I'll be okay. I've managed to help her, and she's managed to help me. If we keep doing that, we'll be okay, I think. So, Hiseo? What do you want to do today? And just like that, that is the good end for Emmy Ibarazaki. Isn't that such a nice route? I really think so. I really do enjoy that one. It's not one I remember the most, but it is one that I definitely do remember, and remember very fondly. There's a lot of good lessons in that. Yeah, I really do. I really do love the lessons this game does have. It's nothing that's going to beat you over the head with, but it's there. Tell you to. You can learn from it. And I think that is wonderful. I think it is absolutely wonderful to have all of that. But now, unfortunately, we get to the bit sadder portion that is unfortunately necessary. Also, when did I last save? That's fine. Extras. Library. Yep, as you can see. One last scene. And then... I think it's this CG. I think this one is the CG. These two are the... Actually, no, it might be this one. I think these two are the yabai scenes that we cannot show. But yeah, let's, without further ado, get into it. So, instant replay. At the final choice, choose to go after her. You will get another choice, choose to downplay the issue to get the bad ending. And then choose give in and let Misha know to get the final CG and an alternate way to get back to the good ending. We don't need to go back and look at the good ending. I always kind of hate doing that thing where, we have to kind of end with the bad ending, but, I mean, not much else you can do. But look at that. 1, 2, 3 completed playthroughs. Let's go and get this bad ending. We go after her. The only way to find out is to go to the source, and the source is currently pretending that she has to use the toilet. I excuse myself politely from the table and head that way, only to catch sight of Emmy not in the bathroom, but in the kitchen just next to the living room. Emmy's left the door open, and as I approach, I can see she's holding onto the table in an attempt to compose herself, an effort that fails as soon as I open my mouth. Doesn't look like nature's call was that urgent. Emmy jumps and glares at me. What are you doing here? I didn't come here to be with other people. Just wanted to help you. You looked pretty rattled. I said it was nothing, didn't I? And besides, I thought we established that you can't help me. No, we've established that you're stubborn. Look who's talking. The guy who followed me. This is different. I want to help you with whatever this is. Funny, because I just want you to leave me alone. But why? Why can't you just trust me? We've been over this already, Hiseo. I've got a lot to do. I've got to deal with this stuff on my own. I won't accept that. You need my help. You just won't take it. My wording seems to have been a little off. Need? I need your help? It's a good thing we've met, isn't it? Because otherwise I guess I'd just be a broken human being, wouldn't I? No, it's a damn good thing that Hiseo came along to save the day, isn't it? Because God knows I can't save myself, can I? Just a poor, emotionally damaged girl with no legs, right? I mean, I don't think that... Really? Because if you thought differently, I don't think you'd be here saying I need your help. I've gotten pretty far in life as a normal human being without you. So what? Nothing we've shared was important? I'm just the guy who hangs out with you? You're my boyfriend, Hiseo, not my savior. Well, no, that much is obvious. You won't even consider that could be a help to you, will you? just bottle it all up and hope that a run will solve your problems. You'll come visit me and we'll fool around until you feel better. It's not being a healthy human being, Emmy. It's not what a relationship means. Well, it's what it means to me right now, Hiseo. I wish... She seems to reconsider her words just then. A flicker of pain, of doubt on her face. For a moment, I think she's about to cry. But the moment passes and she's composed herself again. Whatever that wish was will have to go unspoken. Look, I can't do this right now. What, have a serious conversation? Be open? Be honest? Give a damn about anyone besides yourself and your problems? What do you know about my problems? Nothing. You don't know what I've been through, so you don't pretend that you do. I know you have nightmares, and I know your father's gone. What happened to him? Emmy's head jerks backwards as if I've just slapped her. That brittle quality has gotten back into her voice. That's enough. This is stupid. This whole conversation has just been variations on Emmy stonewalling me. What, he won't even answer the question? Fine, keep your secrets. They can lie in the grave as far as I'm concerned. Emmy's eyes widen in shock. When she speaks again, it's in a voice that is low, dangerous. Get out of my house, Hiseo. A sudden change in her tone snaps me out of my self-righteous anger. It makes me realize with a dawning horror what I've just said. Emmy, I didn't mean... I said go, Hiseo. Tell my mother that she cooked a wonderful meal, but you've forgotten a prior engagement, and get out of my house. She's trembling now, shaking with anger, or sadness, or determination. Her voice is still low, controlled, almost like a growl. I reach out to put an arm on her shoulder, to apologize for going too far, but she jerks away from my touch. Get out. What can I do? I walk out of the kitchen and go to the living room, make my apology to Miss Ibarazaki, and let myself out. Well, yeah, that's, I'll save my thoughts for later. Instant replay. I'll keep saving on this slot. The morning alarm sounds and I roll over, switching it off. My eyes open blearily to stare at the ceiling. What am I going to do? Do I get out of bed, go down to the track, and pretend that nothing happened? Will Emmy even show up? After last evening's events, I doubt it. Even supposing that she did, what would I do then? Get over this fight just to dance the same routine the next time something's bothering her? I know that I spoke hastily last evening, especially trying to use her father as leverage. Was anything I said really off the mark? She won't let me in ever. She'll be forced to suffer alone. Nothing I do, nothing I say is going to change that. She won't change, and she's already decided to keep me at arm's length. Can I really bring myself to go down there and see her? And that I'm never going to get past where I am now? No, I decide. I really can't. Not today. I roll over and go back to sleep. She probably won't be there anyway. A similar mental conversation repeats itself when it comes time to go to lunch, and I eat in the cafeteria, alone. I don't want to see her. The very thought makes me ill. That night I go for a run. I'm solo for the first time since Emmy got sick after the track meet. Skip seeing the nurse, just in case he asked about Emmy. I don't want to talk about her either. The next day I do the same thing. Alarm off. Stay in bed. Eat alone. Run alone. To fill the time that I would usually be spending with Emmy, I start reading more. It works surprisingly well, until I find myself ducking into a restroom because I see her walking down the hall between classes. If she noticed me, she didn't show it. I don't suppose she ever shows anything. Certainly not to the girls from her class I see her talking cheerfully to. Or to her fellow track members. Especially not to me. Alarm off. Stay in bed. Mutoi and I have a lengthy talk about the possibility that string theory is plausible. I don't buy it myself. More than 4 dimensions I can buy. But a bunch of vibrating strings at the subatomic level? That's asking a bit much. Looks like I'm not the only one to think this way, too. Apparently it's not really as strong a theory as it once was. Mutoi says that's just because nobody has found the right way of looking at the data yet. Eat alone. The rooftop is deserted today. I briefly wonder where Emmy and Rin are, but shrug off the question. The important thing is that they aren't here today. Is that they aren't here. So I won't have to talk to them. Since I have nobody to talk to, I bring a book with me to read. The weather's nicer, if getting a little hot. Hopefully it'll be cooler in the evening. The cool breeze seems to back up my theory. Run alone. It is in fact cooler at the track. No sign of Emmy, which is exactly the sort of thing I'm going for. I stretch out and start on my usual run, trying hard to ignore the lack of a running partner in front of me. Finding my thoughts drifting damnably to that girlish laugh, incorrigible grin, those wide and friendly eyes, incredibly toned body. I increase the pace to clear my head. Chew up the distance between me and the turns, find the speed that makes me think of only my legs and how much they burn. Glance at my watch as I round the final turn, noting that my time's gotten faster. My heart seems a little squirrely tonight, so I give myself a few extra cooldown laps just to be safe. No reason to bring this to the nurse's attention. They'll be fine. A rather Emmy-ish thought to have, I'll admit. I have to hope that eventually I'll stop thinking about her so much. I finish another book before going to bed that night. We'll have to stop by the library tomorrow. I don't know why I keep the early alarm on anymore, but it wakes me up the next morning just the same. I still turn it off and go back to sleep. That afternoon, as I get ready to head to the cafeteria for another solo lunch, I've already got a new book about a couple of con men in ancient Persia that I'm pretty excited about reading. I am suddenly cornered by Misha and... I guess just Misha.
Off to eat alone again, Hee-chan? We've noticed, you know.
We?
Uh-huh. Shi-chan and I noticed you've been spending more time alone. She wanted me to find out why, so I told her I'd ask you.
I'm surprised she didn't ask me herself.
She would have, but she wanted to get a head start on some paperwork. There's a lot of it since we're coming up at the end of the term, you know.
Why the sudden interest in my well-being, anyway?
Shi-chan said, it is the duty of the student council to keep track of the emotional health of its students. To allow a constituent to spiral into depression unchecked would be an unforgivable failure in the council's duties.
Well, that's easy then. I'm not depressed.
But you're eating alone, and nobody's seen you or Emmy together at all. Something happened, didn't it, Hee-chan?
Misha's voice takes on a slightly sterner tone, though somehow she keeps the familiar lilt at the end of her sentences. I purse my lips, uncertain about how to respond. So... Instant replay, save here. To start off with, we are going to downplay the issue and see the bad ending. I'm not sure I like the idea of airing private matters to the student council. But nothing major.
Hee-chan, lying's a terrible thing to do.
I gotta get my Shizune voice, or Misha voice better. She's not buying it. Okay, give her something, but not too much. We had a disagreement and haven't resolved it yet.
Oh? Why not?
Because, look, I don't need to talk about this, okay? It's not a big deal, okay? I'm fine.
And Emmy? Is she fine too, Hee-chan?
Misha's voice has taken a decidedly serious edge. This is ridiculous. I don't know, okay? I haven't asked. Things are complicated right now.
What kind of man are you? Things get a little rough and you're going to hide from them?
Misha's sudden retort catches me completely off guard.
Shichan would call that a cowardly act, and she'd be right, too. You two are close, happy together. You're just gonna roll over and die without a fight? You should be willing to fight for your girlfriend, Hiseo. It seems that Misha is channeling Shizune at the moment. It wouldn't surprise me to find out that Shizune gave her a script to follow based on my answer. Misha points an imperious arm at the classroom door. Now you get out of the classroom and patch things up. We've still got afternoon classes. This doesn't seem to dissuade Misha. Then after class, you'd better do it, Hee-chan. It's important that you don't leave things like this. Why?
Misha regards me as one would regard an animal's droppings.
Didn't you care about her, Hiseo? That's important, isn't it?
She's right. I do care about her. Don't I? Okay, I'll see her after class.
Great. I'll let Chi-chan know you're okay then.
The lilt returns. I guess that means Misha isn't angry at me anymore. She waves and disappears down the hallway. I eat my lunch. While afternoon classes draw to a close, I prepare myself for the task ahead. Is this still? Yes. I have to see Emmy. Misha was at least correct about that. Leaving the question of Emmy and me an open issue won't work. At the very least, I need to apologize for what I said. I consider going to her room to find her, but she's probably still at the track. The steps out of the main building and down the path to the track make me feel like a doomed man. I have a twisting, horrible feeling in my gut that this is all going to go horribly wrong, that I'm not going to accomplish anything. Except for maybe driving the final nail in the coffin of whatever it was Emmy and I had. There she is, just as expected, running laps around the track after everyone else has gone to shower and dinner. I don't wave or even make my presence known. I just sit down on the bleachers and watch her run her laps. It takes her a few trips around the track before she notices me, after which she skids to a stop, eyes wide in surprise. Surprise is quickly masked by anger, which in turn fades behind a mask that I already know is impenetrable.
What are you doing here?
Not quite the response I'd hoped for, but at this point I don't have much of a choice. I wanted to apologize for what I said the other day.
The other day?
She laughs, a curt explanation of disbelief.
It's been almost a week, Hiseo.
Yeah, well, better late than ever, right? Emmy crosses her arms and stares at me coolly, as if sizing me up. Finally, she nods.
I suppose you're right. Water under the bridge, then. I forgive you. Is that all?
Her almost impatient question catches me so off guard that she's halfway down the track before I think to shout after her.
No, wait.
Emmy stops, turns, and walks back to me, breathing a little heavily and looking annoyed at my interruption.
What?
Okay, I need to make this right somehow. I have to know where I stand, maybe patch things up. Can you at least sit down?
I think we're okay talking here.
Fine, sure. Look, about us. I pause, trying to think of a good way to phrase what I'm about to say. Before I can launch into an impassioned plea for giving me another chance, Emmy's already spoken.
There's no more us, Hiseo.
Why not?
We're just not right for each other.
She delivers this outrageous statement without even looking in my eyes. I don't believe you. We're great with one another.
Says the guy apologizing for getting thrown out of my house last week.
It was a fight. I said something really incredibly stupid and I apologized for it.
And how many times had we already discussed the problem that started the fight? How many times had I told you that there was a set boundary that I wouldn't cross? And how many times did you keep trying to cross it? Because your boundary was stupid.
Emmy rolls her eyes, folds her arm across her chest, and cocks her head to the side.
Do you see this, Hiseo? This is why we're not right for one another.
Her voice softens a little, and she reaches out to stroke my cheek.
You're a good guy, but we're not going to work.
With a horrible lurching feeling, I realize that she's been practicing this. Maybe every day since I left her house. Even the cheek stroke seems rehearsed, like something out of a movie. She never intended to give me another chance. Hell, she probably would have been fine with never seeing me again. So that's it then? Nothing else to say but, gee, it was fun while it lasted, but so long? This actually seemed to amuse Emmy far more than I wanted it to. She gives a rather morbid-sounding chuckle. That's how I've lived my life, Hiseo. You should know that by now. And it was fun. A sad smile. She shivers slightly, and the smile vanishes. But it's over now. It's for the best. I want to yell, to scream at her. Make her see reason that this is stupid, the whole act. She's just afraid of me, afraid of what being close to someone means. I want to tell her that I love her and I can't just give up on her at the drop of a hat. Except, there's no point. She's made up her mind. We're done. Fine. Emmy nods, satisfied. I want to hit something. Good. She brightens with a false cheeriness. See you around, Hiseo. No, you won't. You won't even try. She shrugs as if to say, have it your way, and turns her back on me once more, quickly accelerating around the curve of the track. I feel numb. This is it. The end of the road for us, whatever that was. Closure, at least. Emmy rounds the track again without sparing me a second glance. She's running much faster now. I can't help but think of that first run together. I ran to catch you, to try and prove I wasn't as weak as I knew I was. But it ended badly for me, didn't it? And now you're off running too fast for me again. And I have the choice to run after you again. But I won't. Not this time. You'd never let me catch you. I don't even notice walking away from the track, or walking into my room, pulling a book out of my bag to read. Just before bed, I reset my alarm. Emmy and I have had our final encounter. We don't speak again after that. Well, that's the bad end. Do you feel like an asshole? Does it make you feel like a piece of shit? Because that's exactly how it was written to. It's written really, really well to make you feel like an absolute piece of shit. But do you see where he made his mistakes? It's pretty easy to tell. That one sentence about the grave, that was that. Nothing else that could be said. That was the end. But there was another choice. What if we weren't so stubborn? What if we didn't shake off Misha? What if we listened to what Misha had to tell us? What if we took what she said to heart instead of ignoring her? What if we did that? Why don't we go see exactly what that would be? Well, I suppose someone else knowing about my problem can't hurt. Heck, maybe Misha can even offer some advice. We had a fight at her house. I kept trying to get close to her, and she wouldn't let me get close, and I said something stupid, and she threw me out. Have you talked to her since then? Misha looks genuinely concerned. I'm surprised. I had almost expected her to drop the subject after finding out what the trouble was. Even more surprising is how quickly I find myself spilling my guts to her. No, I haven't. I just can't bring myself to face her after that. I made a complete fool of myself, and she probably hates me now anyway. Especially since I haven't seen her since then. You're pretty slow, Hee-chan. This doesn't sound like advice. Huh? Misha places her hands on her hips and launches into a speech that would sound more plausible coming from Shizune. The solution to your problem is simple. You just have to go and apologize to her.
Leaving things like this will just make things worse. You can't know that she hates you now unless she tells you. Otherwise, there's no evidence that what you fear is true. And if you really care about her, shouldn't you be worried about how she's taking all this? With a sudden start, I realize that she's right. I've kept waking up to an early alarm because part of me wants to meet Emmy at the track for our runs. I've kept running because I know that Emmy would worry about me if I didn't stay healthy. When I went on the roof yesterday, I was half hoping that she would be up there, and felt disappointed when she wasn't. I'm an idiot. Kinda, Hee-chan. So, go apologize to her as soon as you can, okay?
I opened my mouth to say I'll do that right away, but the lunch bell rings and I realize that I still have afternoon classes to attend. First thing after class is over, I'll go see her. I promise. And, thanks for the advice, I guess. Misha beams at me as if I were a child that had just learned his ABCs.
Good. I'll let Chi-chan know that you're okay then.
Yeah, you do that. With a wave, and completely disregarding the fact that people are starting to trickle back into the classroom as opposed to out of it, Misha departs the classroom. I suppose she and Shizune have student council business again. While the afternoon wears on, I find myself impatient for lessons to end. I need to see Emmy now. I have to try to set things right. Even if Emmy hates me now, I have to at least apologize. I owe her that much. Should I meet with her in a room? No, I decide. It would delay things too much. If I know Emmy, I can find her at the track. Still have no idea what I'm going to say when I get there, but I take comfort in knowing that Emmy probably wouldn't have a plan for something like this either. Play it by ear, stop being nervous, and just get to the track. Figure the rest out when I get there. The track looms ahead. Another jolt of nerves hits me in the gut. I resist the urge to turn and walk away, and instead note with satisfaction that I was right, and Emmy is still running. I don't make myself immediately known. I find a seat in the bleachers and watch her run. Instead, thinking back to our earlier meetings. After a few trips around the track, Emmy notices me and skids to a halt, an expression of surprise that slides easily into one of anger.
What are you doing here?
Not quite the response I'd hoped for, but at this point I don't have much of a choice. I wanted to apologize for what I said the other day.
The other day?
She laughs, a curt exclamation of disbelief.
It's been almost a week, Hiseo.
Yeah, well, better late than never, right? Emmy crosses her arms and stares at me coolly, as if sizing me up. Finally, she nods.
I suppose you're right. Water under the bridge, then. I forgive you. Is that all?
Her almost impatient question catches me so off guard that she's already halfway down the track before I think to shout after her.
No, wait.
She doesn't seem to have heard me, or she doesn't want to hear me. And so I give chase, disregarding completely the fact that I'm not dressed for it. My feet hurt, my shirt collar feels like a noose around my neck. But I still chase after her, because if I don't, I'll lose my chance. Emmy hasn't started to really accelerate yet, which is probably the only reason I'm able to catch up to her. To reach out and tap her on the shoulder, just before my legs give up running in dress shoes and stumble to a stop. Fortunately, all that running seems to have paid off. I'm short of breath, yes, but at least my heart isn't actively trying to force its way out of my rib cage. My touch on her shoulder has stopped Emmy. And while there is a flash of concern when she sees me catching my breath, it seems that she has a good idea of what I'm capable of, too. The concern is short-lived.
What?
She seems so irritated by my being still there that I almost lose my nerve. But I've lost my nerve enough. I need to explain myself, why I can't just let the matter rest. Emmy folds her arms and bounces one blade on the ground in an approximation of tapping her foot impatiently. Angry as she is, and as nervous as I am, she still looks beautiful.
Okay, Hiseo. Explain.
The thing is, I know that you're really sensitive about the accident and about your dad. I I can see Emmy's face twitch at the mention of the two things that have been steadily driving us apart, or at least made me feel like we're being driven apart. But that's why I want to know about them, I think. Because I see how much they hurt you. I want to be there to comfort you. It makes me miserable seeing you sleepless and depressed. And don't pretend you aren't, because I know, okay? Just remember that night when you fell asleep with me and had that nightmare, and that you were happy to have me there when you woke up. I want to be able to be there for you like that whenever you need me to be. The stern face cracks slightly. Emmy interrupts before I can continue further.
Just stop right there. We can't see each other anymore, okay?
She's rushing now, looking everywhere but at me. I'm surprised she doesn't bolt. She knows I can't catch her.
We're not right for one another.
That's not true and you know it.
No, it's true. You're too...
I know. I know that I've been pretty pushy about knowing your past. If you can't tell me yet, then at least let me be there, even if I don't know the reason. It's okay. I promise. I won't ask why you need comfort. I'll just give it freely. Emmy is shaking her head, and tears seem to be threatening the corners of her eyes.
Stop saying that.
Why? Because you're afraid you'll take me up on it?
I'm not afraid.
I can't keep the chiding tone from my voice as I respond. Yes, you are. You told me so yourself, remember? That's okay. Really, it is. However, it seems to me that someone who'd managed to come out of that wreck and still be as energetic and cheerful as you would be determined enough to face that fear.
Determination? What do you know about determination?
I know that there's a girl so determined to take care of a total stranger that she'd steal his food at a festival. I know that there's a girl so determined to help me with my own problems that she'd draw up a complete dietary and exercise plan. She'd not only draw up the plans, but she'd follow them with me, even when she couldn't run. Determined enough to keep me at arm's length that she'd put herself through emotional pain if she thought it was the right thing to do. Although there's one thing that this determined girl didn't quite plan for, which was that I might feel that same kind of determination to keep her from being hurt. I fell in love with you, and I refuse to let that be thrown away because you're afraid of losing me. With what little control Emmy still has at this point cracks, and I find myself suddenly enveloped in her embrace as she cries.
Why are you doing this? Why can't you just leave me alone?
I hold her close and plant a kiss on the top of her head. I'm sorry, Emmy. You helped me when I first arrived, so now I have to help you. It's only fair.
You're utterly hopeless. Did you know that?
She hiccups and trembles a little. Funny. I can say the same about you.
Can you do something for me, Hiseo?
Anything.
Can you go now?
It feels like she's just shoved a knife through my chest. Go?
I need to think, okay? I can't just tell you everything yet. I'm still scared, and when you're around, I can't think clearly. But do me another favor.
What's that?
Show up for a morning run tomorrow?
I smile, feeling better than I have all week. Of course. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Emmy steps back slowly, almost reluctantly. She snuffles a little and then grins at me, a real smile that lights up the track, overpowering the fading evening's light.
See you tomorrow, Hiseo.
Okay. She darts forward suddenly, planting a soft kiss on my lips, then steps back shyly. Spinning on her back foot, she takes off running again, and I know that our conversation's at an end. My lips tingle with the warmth of that brief kiss, and the memories of our other, longer kisses. I walk back to my room with a spring in my step. Tomorrow, when my alarm goes off, I'll get up. Okay, I'm actually not sure how that changes the first part of Act 4, so I'm going to check that. How about that, though? The morning sun is bright through my open window, and the sound of my alarm quickly has me up and about. I slept surprisingly well last night, secure in the knowledge that I've at least got another chance with Emmy. If I can just keep myself from doing anything stupid, maybe I'll find out what's been eating her recently. Because this goes... Oh, yeah, okay, so... Let's save here. Actually, I'm going to go back and check the library. Extras, library, Emmy. So, if you go that route... So yeah, because it takes us right to here. Sex, drugs, but no rock and roll. So, yeah, instead of going through swing and a miss and saving throw, you go right from instant replay to Whispers of the Past. That is a good way to do that also. So we can delete this save. So, how about that? It was, as I expected, it was not a very long one, about an hour and a half. But if we go and we look in our extras, well, first of all, we are not missing a single thing in Emmy's route. We have got all of the scenes. There it is. We have that last CG. These two are ones that we can't show. And yeah, that's Emmy's route. How about that? Wasn't that nice? I can't really decide whether or not I like that way back to the good end better than the choice at the end of Act 3 with for the good route. I suppose it just depends on how you interpret Hiseo. Because if you thought of him as more impulsive, he'd obviously go after Emmy. But if you've thought of him as more of that, as like learning more, thinking more about like, okay, I have to think about what Emmy wants, but balance that with what should be good for her. Not even good for her, kind of, but like what he wants to try and be there for her. I think that talking with her mom makes more sense, because you get the whole you find out more about it, you find it through that, and then you get to leave the house with that feeling that, oh, I know things, I can assume things, I have to go make it up, I have to think about what I'm going to say, and he does that. He gets the time to do that. It's, I think it's really nice how that all works out. The bad end is just horribly painful, and that's part of why I lean toward not really liking the get on the bad end and switch back to the good end, just because I hate that kitchen scene where he's just yelling and insisting and being pushy towards Emmy. I much prefer the one where he realizes that he's got to take a different... Because it ties back into, like it said, the science thing. I do like how they tied that in there. Talking about how, like, okay, this approach isn't working. What would I do? Because it leads toward his future, too. I mean, you think about it, it doesn't go into depth with the future. But you get to see that Hiseo's thinking like this. He's got that future plan. He's putting it into use. He's thinking about, okay, talking to Emmy directly isn't working. What can I do to take a look at everything else and try and interpret it from a different way, find things out, think about it, apply it, and go from there. And then that scene with Emmy in the graveyard. Oops, I wanted to go here. Where she's the one where she goes through all of that. Also, this is one of the few scenes where you can actually see Emmy's normal day legs. But the way it goes through that, because it goes back, I mean, it's kind of it's nice and a little. It's a small little callback, but it's enough of a callback, and it doesn't do it without like going like, we talked about this, think about this. She just starts talking about all those other smaller things that nobody knew about her before. She opening up more and more and more, building that way up, like Hiseo said on the bus with a run. You know, you build up, you build up, you build up, and then you're going full bore. I am a very big fan of this route. It was I think I kind of glimpsed past it a little bit in my very first playthrough years and years ago, but going back through it now really gives me an appreciation for it, and like how nice it is. And I'm glad again that this route that we can actually have a nice ending to end the stream on, and not just end with, oh, this is the bad end, here you go. Because that was one thing about the Hanako's route that I kind of didn't like about that stream, aside from the fact that my audio was terrible. I was not a fan of the fact that you ended the stream with like, here's the bad end, here's how you can fuck it all up, and then like the neutral end's like, here's how you can fuck it up and not even know it. You can squander the relationship without even knowing it. But I mean, we got to do. I mean, even with how scuffed the ending of Lily's route was for streaming, I like that one because you ended it with all of that final stuff. If you also hadn't noticed, especially in the last stream and now in this stream, I really did try and start doing more voice acting instead of just reading. I wanted to. I started it a little bit in the end of Lily's route, where I started like, as Hiseo was hurtling through everywhere, mind racing, reading faster, trying to get that hurried pace. I hope it was still like readable and like understandable, but I wanted to get that, and then I started it last end with just like adding that emotion, that real impact to what you're saying. Like I had like the dry tone that I used for all of the that post admission stuff from Emmy, and then of course all the stuff in the house, all of that. I want to make a better effort at doing that, because I feel like it adds a lot. I tried to emphasize, stuff like the friends who happen to fuck line. I tried to emphasize that. I tried to emphasize the grave line from the bad end, or at least the route to the bad end. But yeah, anyway, so that was Emmy's route, 100% except for NSFW, which I cannot show. I will still have to see if I can even like look through the final gallery. At the very least, I should be able to show the first page to show 100% completion. No, I won't. So I have to like flip through it all. Yeah. How many of these do we have left? There's a lot in Emmy or in Lily and Hanako's routes for these. We have 5 item CGs left. But yeah, so if we go back and look at our library, we have Emmy, Hanako, Lily, done. We, in Act 1 are missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 more Act 1 scenes to get. We have 2 routes left, and then the Act 1 bad ending. So, in the next Katawa Shoujo stream, which will be on Tuesday, we'll be starting Shizune's route. Shizune's route is really fun. It's really interesting. It's also got one of those more famous scenes, like, you know how the shed scene in Emi's route is pretty infamous, or well known, probably is a better word. It's not like people are like, oh, this scene's terrible. It's just funny. It's like Emi's route kind of gets known for the anal. Shizune's route gets known a little bit for bondage, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So, I need to get some sleep. I have not slept. It's actually, Shizune's route is really interesting because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 questions to be made or selections to be made in the entire route, and then 3 scenes and 3 CGs. And then at the final choice, you'll get all 3 scenes and 3 CGs that you'll be missing, and you'll get to see the bad end. So unfortunately, you know what? No, I'll play that differently this time, since I know there's a way around it. I think it's, of course, going to be probably 2 to 3 streams from now. When we get to the end of Shizune's route, we will start with the bad ending. We will see the bad ending first. And then we will go from the bad ending into the good ending, and we'll get to appreciate that. And then, of course, we will end with my second favorite route in the entire game, Rin's. We will get the wonderful look into Rin's story. It'll be amazing. I guarantee you that. She has another really interesting route. You can already tell. Rin's an interesting person. It's not going to be like anything else, as if any of these routes are really similar. I think one of the biggest strengths of this game is just how unique every single ending is. So, yep, just like that. We are halfway done. We're over halfway done with completion as well. But 3 routes down, 3 left to go. Looking forward to it. Loving this. Loving all of this. So anyway, that was the stream for tonight. Tomorrow, not sure exactly what I'll play. Maybe I will play more Pokemon. Maybe some more Pokemon Soul Silver and Randomizer would be a fun way to spend our Monday night. And of course, Tuesday will be Katawa Shoujo. Wednesday will be something. Thursday will be another Katawa Shoujo. Friday will be Minecraft or Soul Silver. Saturday there will be nothing. And then Sunday will be more Katawa Shoujo. Anyway, I keep yawning. I should wrap this up and try to get to sleep. Might sleep for a solid 12 hours, who knows. But yeah. Thank you for coming out to the stream tonight. If you enjoyed and you were watching on Twitch, please leave a follow. If you are watching the VOD on YouTube, please leave a like and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter at Ari of the Star for whatever things I'm deciding to tweet about. The YouTube channel, if you'd like to subscribe there, is Ari of the Star as well. All of my VODs are there. We've got nice little playlists for everything. And yeah, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever it is where you are. Thank you for coming by. Be safe, and I will see all of you in the next stream.